The morning of March 22nd, 1699, Tyburn gallows, London. Today's condemned man is the finest counterfeiter London has ever produced. And the name of the man who put him here is the last one you'd expect. Isaac Newton? Yes, the Newton of gravity and calculus. Humanity's greatest genius spent the last 30 years of his life chasing not apples, but counterfeiters. And this hunt was no hobby. The nation's money itself was dying, and the man on the gallows was the one rival who mocked Newton to his face. This is the story of their 3-year war. Our story begins in 1690's London. English silver coins were still hammer-struck, the way they'd been made for centuries. That meant ragged edges, and those edges opened the door to disaster. People quietly snipped slivers off the edges of coins with shears. The practice was called clipping, and the whole country did it. The shavings were melted down and sold. The lightened coins slipped back into the market. The results were brutal. By 1695, nearly half the weight of England's circulating silver had vanished. Some estimated that 1 coin in 10 was an outright fake. This was no mere crime wave, it was national bankruptcy in motion. England was at war with France, and merchants had begun refusing the very coins paid to soldiers. Faith in money itself was collapsing. A vicious cycle piled on top. Whenever people received a full weight coin, they hid it away and spent only the clipped ones. Bad money drives out good, Gresham's law, playing out in every pocket. The government's answer was drastic. Recall every silver coin in the realm and strike it anew, the great recoinage, with a new warden at its heart, the Royal Mint. In 1696, the post went to a Cambridge professor named Isaac Newton. The job was meant as a gift, a sinecure with a salary and no duties. No previous warden had bothered to show up. Newton instead became the most diligent civil servant in history. Newton rebuilt the mint like a physics laboratory. He recalculated furnace layouts and workflows, multiplying the speed of coining several times over. The new coins carried milled, lettered edges. Touch them with shears, and it showed instantly. Under Warden Newton, the mint ran from dawn past midnight. Hundreds of workers and horse-driven presses struck coin 20 hours a day. The reclusive Cambridge scholar had become the manager of London's greatest factory. Detecting false coin was where an old obsession finally paid off. Newton had spent decades handling metals in his alchemy experiments. He became a court-recognized assayer who could spot a fake by its alloy alone. Within 3 years, most of the nation's silver had been reborn as new coin. Millions of pounds, the largest currency operation England had ever attempted. Yet one enemy survived the recoinage: the counterfeiter. And at the bottom of the warden's list of duties sat one line nobody had ever taken seriously: the investigation and prosecution of coiners. Yet the hunt faced a strange obstacle. Coining was high treason, a hanging offense, so juries, unwilling to send neighbors to the rope, acquitted again and again. The harsher the law, the looser the net. At the summit of those counterfeiters stood a man named William Chaloner. A country tailor's son, he had been a Japaner, a quack doctor, a con man. And his hands were more precise than the Royal Mint itself. Golden guineas, French pistoles, even the newborn Bank of England's notes, he could forge them all. By his own boast, he struck 30,000 pounds in his lifetime, in an age when a laborer earns 20 a year. He rode a carriage and played the gentleman on fake money. His masterpiece fused fraud with forgery. He counterfeited notes of the newborn Bank of England, then informed on the forgery ring and collected the bank's reward. The bank thanked the very man robbing it. His methods were art. Casting for moles, gilding, engraved plates, and a double trade besides informing on rival coiners to collect the rewards. Chaloner's true weapon was audacity. Twice he stood before Parliament, declaring the mint corrupt and offering his own technology to fix it. His single goal to get inside and put his hands on the coining machines. Along the way, he mocked the new warden openly. What would a Cambridge bookworm know about coin? He even spread word that Newton's own mint was a den of counterfeiters. Newton took the bait. In 1697, he had Chaloner arrested and brought to trial for coining. The genius's first hunt looked all but finished. But on the day of the trial, the key witnesses had vanished without a trace. Chaloner walked free, smiling as he left the courtroom. Humanity's greatest genius had been beaten flat by a tailor's son. Chaloner went further. He counterattacked. His accusations of mint corruption stirred a parliamentary committee, and Newton found himself explaining before the members. The prey had put the hunter on the stand. Humiliated, Newton drew his conclusion. This was not mathematics, it was intelligence warfare. From that day, the warden of the mint became the spymaster of London's underworld. Newton walked the taverns and prisons himself, taking depositions. More than 100 of his interrogations of coiners, fences, and informers survive on paper. He even had himself made a justice of the peace with the power to arrest. His network was a prototype of the modern investigation agency. Paid informers, spies planted in prison cells, undercover inquiries, a manhunt system designed by a physicist. This time, everyone around Chaloner was Newton's ear. Cellmates, drinking companions, business partners, all wrote down his words and sent them to the mint. Chaloner never knew he was already inside the net. Cornered, Chaloner began his final performance. In Newgate Prison, he played the madman. But even his ravings were being written down by the spy in the next bunk. March 1699, the Old Bailey. The testimony Newton had stacked was airtight, and the jury did not deliberate long. The charge: high treason, counterfeiting the king's coin. After the sentence, Chaloner wrote to Newton from his cell. "Only you can save me," the letter begged. "Please, spare my life." Newton never answered a single word. March 22nd, 1699, the very morning our story opened. Chaloner was hanged at Tyburn. The 3-year war ended in the genius's total victory. And yet Newton's true legacy in the history of money is not this manhunt. It is a single mistake he made. The crown repaid the service in full. In 1705, Newton was knighted, most likely, historians argue, for the mint and politics rather than for science. A scientist knighted for garden money. In 1717, now master of the mint, Newton fixed the golden guinea at 21 silver shillings. The calculation priced gold just slightly too high. So people melted their silver, sold it abroad, and kept only gold. And so, almost by accident, Britain became the world's first de facto gold standard nation. The rule that governed the world economy for the next 2 centuries was born from a genius's arithmetic slip. One last twist remains. In 1720, Newton himself was swept into the South Sea bubble and lost 20,000 pounds. He could calculate the motions of the heavens, the famous lament goes, but not the madness of people. A trace of this war is in your pocket right now. The fine ridges on the edge of a coin. A 300-year-old defense against clipping and forgery, still stamped into the coins of today. Money is the system humanity's greatest genius spent a lifetime guarding, fixing, and never quite defeating. He could catch the counterfeiters, but never the madness. That is what money still is today. Like the shillings and guineas Newton guarded, hundreds of currencies humanity has called money are gathered in the MONETA archive. Each one's era, region, and story, there whenever you're curious. This is MONETA Season 2, digging into the systems of human civilization one by one. If you want the next money story, subscribe and like, and join the hunt.